Just about everybody in business in the Omaha area is thinking of this to themselves. They're going, well, I don't know, should we try it? Should we go forward, or should we just hang in there tight because the economic implications are unusual. We don't know what direction to go. Maybe we'll just sit tight and repeat the same thing we did last week and last month and maybe last year. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. This is what everybody is thinking. They don't want to throw money away uselessly, but on the other hand, they do, of course, want to gain market share and generate more revenue. Most of them are not thinking about innovation, and we're going to devote much of this show today to innovation. I'm going to tell you why. Here's the bottom line. Across the entire country and many other industries, and so it's a broad number, 6% increase in growth, in profitability from year to year for the companies that actually invest, spend time, and actually work on innovating and differentiating themselves from the competitors on an ongoing basis. They're really into it. They stick with it. It's an important part of their business. So think about that 6% number. It's not as small as you might think. When you add it up year in and year out, that adds up to a lot of profitability. Anyway, my name is LynnHinderaker, and again, this is WowBiz Nebraska. We've done many shows, and we're so happy to have you here. I've got something kind of cool. You know, as people think about where they're at right now, I'm talking about business owners now and franchisors, people like that. They wake up and they have a vision in their mind, and it's like a pond or a small lake out there. You know, when they wake up every night or every morning and they're thinking about what do I do today. And, you know, they're hoping that the customers or prospects are like the fish out there in the pond. The sales force, the marketing folks, of course, are out there, and they're the bait, and they have the fishing rods and so on. And that's how our life looks. And I can see the pond. I can see the borders, and it's right over there. It's the same as it has always been. This particular pond hasn't changed. We're still fishing there. Some days are good, some days aren't. But I'm telling you, the theme you need to embrace these days is on the front of this children's book. It's called Beyond the Pond. It's a very interesting idea. Think beyond the pond, in other words. In other words, transform your industry. Maybe your actual efforts should be beyond the perimeter of the lake that you're looking at or the pond you're looking at every single day. This is the key idea that I'm trying to share with you today. Now, this show is brought to you by today, a new automobile dealer here in the Omaha area. It's around 66th or 67th and L Street. No surprise there. Line up with another maybe at least 5, maybe 6 other competitive auto dealers. The name of the organization is Morgan Auto. You'll be able to see it as you cruise by L Street. And look to the right, all right? When you look to the right, if you're going east in this case, and you'll see this particular type of image. The key up here, and I'm going to do a little advertising message here, of course, is this word more. And of course, the company is called Morgan. The first syllable is more. And they're going to be able to say something that everybody else, and let me tell you, there's some strong competitors on L Street, none of them can say what you're looking at right now. None of them can say our lineup with cars has more savings. That's important. More choices. The variety is incredible. And more service, all right? Morgan Auto gives you more. Try us and see. Now that's a classic ad. And of course, these people are saying something that nobody else can say by capitalizing on the word more, the first syllable of their last name. They're the business owners. So check out Morgan Auto and walk into the office there that they have and say, I'm looking for more prices, more variety, more service. See what they have to say. I think that'll go well for you. All right, now, so let me ask you this. We've already jumped around a little bit and talking about cars, and I really want to share something kind of, I think, important and valuable and helpful and so on. It has to do with automobile sales and automobile sales people. I had the opportunity to go over to Edwards Auto there in Council Bluffs last week, I guess it was, or a little bit earlier. And I kind of hung out at a variety of the dealerships and chatted with the salespeople and so on. And they found out that I was just trying to set an appointment with the sales manager. So, we just kind of chatted for a little bit. But every time I walked into a showroom in that particular area, there was somebody right there, let me tell you, maybe more than one. Hey, how you doing? We can help you. What are you looking for? Blah, blah, blah. We've got a great sale on this or that. I can get you that car for less than $300 a month. What do you think about that? Now, I'm not exaggerating. This was pretty much how the conversation went and how it was. And if the sales manager were here right now, very sharp guy, I'm sure, he would say, well, people come in here and they want to bargain, they want a great price, they want to dicker with us a little bit, so we have to be trained and have to be comfortable working with a pricing system and flexibility and all that. All right, that's what they think the customer or sales prospect wants. And I'm here to tell you right now that they're missing the boat. Now, when I say that, I'm sure that some people say, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But price is always a great thing, and it is. There's no doubt about that. Everybody is sensitive to price. But what they seem to have forgotten is that these automobiles, different colors, different styles, different interiors, different performance specifications, and so on, are an extension of who they are, right? They're an extension of who they are. So now, if you could understand what somebody's self-image is, who they really think they are, and what the kind of clothes they wear, how they talk, their hair, how they come across when they chat with people. Some people are introverted, extroverted, whatever. But the bottom line is that we all have, whether we want to admit it or not, we all have a self-concept. We all have a personal brand. Sometimes it's not clarified that well, but other times it's very, very clear, and it's well expressed in certain cases. So here's the big idea that I'm sharing with you on WowBiz Nebraska today, right now, is that the entire auto sales industry, showroom groups and staff and so on, need to be trained in this, which is a psychological thing, much more personal, by the way, because once you pull up, you buy a car at Edwards, you pull it up in front of somebody, your husband or somebody that you've seen recently, and let me tell you, they're probably not going to talk about price the second you get out of the car, all right, with a smile on your face, perhaps. No, they're going to say, hey, that fits you. That is perfect for you. Yes, indeed. That's how it goes. This is buying a car, buying a suit, buying makeup, getting a haircut. These are all aspects of your personal brand. Some of them are very subtle, some of them are very obvious, and people are proud of the way they look and act and so on. But those are being overlooked completely by auto salespeople because they've gotten so down, so depressed. People get in there and they beat on them on price and so on because they don't know how to ask the questions and really form a little bit of a relationship with the potential buyer and somehow fit this vehicle. That vehicle over there is so aggressive, the lines and everything, and you are, I know, a very aggressive guy. You're a business person or gal, whatever it is. There's a linkage there. That car's for you. That car is you, man. And people will go, I see what you're saying. I like that. Yeah. Now, the price will come at the very end and so on, but people are flattered to be recognized for who they are or who they want to be. This is a very important thing. When you train salespeople, the customer themselves is striving to become something possibly that they are not right now. So anyway, I think you understand the point. Personal branding is extremely important in people's lives, and I'll give you one quick instance that has to do with me, but it makes the point. A couple of years ago, I was taking my grandchildren to elementary school. I drop them off and take them there, and bye grandpa and all that. But sometimes I would walk in and chat with a security guard, very nice guy. We kind of knew our through the family, there were connections. And so we kind of chatted and we got to be kind of friends. Now, often, not always, but often I tend to like wearing black. I wear black jackets, black t-shirts, and black jeans often. And so when he saw me, he would frequently say, and he'd kind of joking around, he'd say, "Hey, Godfather." This is what he'd say to me. He'd say, "Hey, Godfather, how you doing?" All right, well, anyway, it was just chatting and kind of hanging out a little bit, you know. And when we would go on, we wouldn't dwell on it. I never dwelt on it, never made a big deal about it. A few weeks later, there was some kind of an event at this elementary school, and my wife and I went, and along with many parents and grandparents were there to watch the children sing and do different performance things and so on. We've all been to those kinds of things. The auditorium was quite full, lots and lots of people there waiting to see their child sing. Well, anyway, out of the blue, a married couple, I guess, coming over from the right. I didn't really see them, but they came over to me and then whispered. They leaned down and they whispered and they said, "Aren't you the Godfather?" That's what they said to me, and right next to my wife. I looked at her, I said, I guess so. Yeah. And she said, "Oh yeah, I told my husband, I knew it was you." Right. Now, again, not a huge deal, but it was a differentiator, an indicator of who I am, and as opposed to somebody else and so on. That was kind of an interesting experience. I said, I'm going to go ahead and use that phrase. I'm going to add something to it. I'm going to call it Godfather of Growth. That way it kind of has a business angle. And so I did that, right? And I didn't think much about it. I utilize it now and then as I'm sending out materials or emails or whatever. Just recently, I stopped into a bar, restaurant. I was picking up some food for the family and so on. And I went around the corner there to the bartender, and he had everything lined up, and he had the bag with the food. You've seen that before. And he was very nice, and he looked out there and he picked up the receipt, and he was kind of looking at me and looking at the receipt here, make sure that the food is correct. And he looked up and he goes, aren't you the guy that they call Godfather? This is what he said to me. Now when I don't want to make a bigger deal about this than what it was, but it's an interesting thing that people are embracing it, and I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Well, anyway, so just intuitively, I said, yeah, I am, yeah. He goes, he says, "I think that is great." This is how he was enthused when he talked to me. He says, "I think that is great. That's awesome, dude. Here's your food. Take care." All right, anyway. So all these small little inconsequential moments, when looked at individually, add up to something, you see. They add up to something. Part of my personal brand, every one of you has a personal brand that could be cultivated, and you could do even more with it, whether it's in business or otherwise. So I just wanted to mention that to you. It's a very interesting thing. And right here, coming up at the middle of our show, because we're going to talk a lot about innovation at the back end, we're going to talk to you about the organization that sponsors this week's show with the WowBiz Nebraska, and that is a company called Charisma Coaching. Now, it's interesting that has a little bit to do, I guess, with what I've been talking about a second ago, but there's a lot of people out there, and I'm going to just choose one right now. I'm going to say a real estate salesperson, all right? These are people that have the potential to make a lot of money, but oftentimes, they don't have any clients yet. They don't have a home. They're not showing any homes this week. So, they're kind of anxious about that. So it's kind of an up and down kind of a career for a lot of them, but they want to be respected. They want to walk into a room and have somebody say, she's with this or that real estate firm. You know her? She does really well. She's great, etc. Right? So this is what they all want. Now, there are many other careers and people and so on that also want to exude a certain type of energy that attracts not just customers, but people around them, helpers, influencers, whatever. They sense that there is that potential, but they're not there right now, see? So again, Charisma Coaching offers, it's a very interesting business. We offer 6 different packages or programs or consulting services, essentially, from including public speaking, including packaging your clothing, your wardrobe, your car, getting those all fully integrated, and also having maybe 2 or 3 topics that you're really fond of, you like to talk about, they're relevant to other people, they're going to like those topics, and you become a little bit of an expert on those topics. You keep those in your hip pocket, but you can bring them out and apply them, and people will say, "You're a great conversationalist. Maybe we should just go with her, Harry." Okay, see? So all that requires discipline, practical discipline, and really the desire to become the person that you think you can indeed be. It's very interesting. This is a personal growth, personal development company, but the possibility, the thing that you see on the outside is full charisma coaching. Now, after 5 or 6 months of that kind of interaction with coaches for this particular organization, people will say, you know, she's a little different these days. She's really taking the world by storm. She's really doing it. She's did a video. She's got a video out there. People know what she stands for, right? She has values that she believe in, you know, whatever they are. Because, by the way, I have to tell you, thinking about, for instance, TV and Trust TV, you've heard of before, people like to, they do choose the person before they choose the product or the service, whatever it is. Those things matter, their performance and everything else. But in the end, you want to work with somebody that you actually enjoy being around, and they have, the ability to identify with you, you have similar values and so on. So there you go. Charisma Coaching, 6 months of work to become the person you're capable of and are desire to become, and obviously enjoy the rewards that come with that, whether it's prominence, finances, whatever. Charisma Coaching, check them out, K-A-R, kind of unusual spelling, K-A-R-I-S-M-A, coaching. An awesome group of they've tapped in, by the way, the brand ID stuff I was talking a little bit before, personal branding, very close. We didn't intend to do that really, but the same general idea. What is your personal brand? How do you stand out in a crowd? What are the first 5 or 10 things that you come out of your mouth, that you speak when you're talking to other people and so on? All kinds of interesting things, and of course, public speaking is really helpful if this makes sense to you. Charisma Coaching, check them out. All right. I promised you we'd be talking a little bit about innovation. You know, there are a lot of people out there that say, I don't want to innovate. I don't want to have to horse around with that, and then I got to worry about failing, and if I fail and people don't trust me, they don't know, et cetera, et cetera. Let's just talk for just a second about who is the most innovative company in the United States of America. I wish I were listening to you right now face to face. It'd be very interesting to hear what you had to say. I think a lot of people would say Apple, not true, although it's a great company, of course, even without Steve Jobs being there these days. But nevertheless, there are a lot of different options that people would go for. Microsoft, that's not the answer. But I will tell you, and you may or may not have heard of them before, the name of the company that is the most innovative company in the United States of America, and they have lessons for you, and I'm going to try to get to them very quickly, is a company called W.L. Gore. W.L. Gore. Now, you may have heard of Gore-Tex. Those are pieces of fabric that are part of shoes. They're really high tech, of course. They kind of move and stretch and so on and so forth, but they don't let moisture in. Now, most of you will go, oh, yeah, I've heard of Gore-Tex. I've heard of that. This is an incredible company. They have some different ways of doing things, and it's really kind of a seminar in and of itself, because they are, by the way, they have over 1,000 products, 1,000 products that they have invented themselves. And of course, they're selling them in various industries and distributions and so on and so forth. For instance, I'll give you a quick Glide dental floss. Who would have thought, right? Dental floss is one of the products specifically branded Glide that W.L. Gore created. Here's another one, guitar strings. Now that you thought about floss, I guess that doesn't surprise you too much, but the name of the brand there is Elixir guitar strings. Once again, a product from W.L. Gore. And their overall sales, somebody's sitting there saying, yeah, well, how big are they? 1.58, let's see, I want to get this right, $1.58 billion in sales last year in all these different industries. Now, when you start talking to them and say, well, how do you get there from here? And what's it really like? What matters? What do you guys do that are different than everybody else? And so there's a couple, 2, 3 things, right? One is they love small teams. There is power in small teams, not large groups, but rather small teams that rely on each other. They know each other. They see each other. They're working every day. Hi, how you doing? Good, come on over here, da-da-da-da-da. All that, all right. No ranks, no bosses. No ranks, no bosses. Now think of all the employees, the workforce, the bitching and the moaning. I hate my job. My manager is terrible. I'm thinking about leaving, et cetera, et cetera. W.L. Gore says everybody's the same, completely egalitarian. There is no boss, and everyone is your boss. Let me say it again. There is no boss, but everyone is your boss. Next, take the long view. All right, if you're thinking about innovation, you want to generate an extra 6% in the bottom line growth, financial growth, you got to take the long view. And don't just run around and, well, that didn't work, so we're done now. Yeah, that's not how it goes at W.L. Gore. They have all kinds of things in the works constantly. And they respect their employees. If they have an idea, they're going to go talk to this guy and that guy, and they'll make it happen. And it'll be action-oriented. And so many people right now are not action-oriented. Now, here's another thing, wrapping up here tonight. Make time for FaceTime. Look at this. Avoid emails. Don't even use emails. At W.L. Gore, big company, has all these products, all these cool things that they've done, and so on and so forth. Do you know what they say? Just go talk to him. Just go grab him, sit down over a cup of coffee for a second, and say what you got to say, and get back to your desk. It seems old school, but they will tell you that's how they cultivate trust in the field, right? Very interesting. And then finally, this is the big one, of course. I'm personally involved in a lot of innovation over the last 30 years or so. The value menu, for instance, was one of many innovations. But the key issue is I'm out there and I'm talking to people about innovating to differentiate yourself. Remember, if you're not differentiating yourself, then you have to be a cost leader. Just please remember what I'm saying to you this right now. It's obvious. Many people go, yeah, I get that. A lot of people don't get it. It's a very complicated thing, business, many times. So here's a core idea right here. You either have to play the game to differentiate your company, you must clearly be unique and stand out, or you can go over here and you can be the price leader. We can get beneath that. We always have the vendors give us great prices and so on. We're always doing promotions every weekend. It's cheaper and lower. We can play that game over here. All right. So those are the two games, quote unquote, that you need to, think about and embrace, because the resultant strategies that come out of that are very, very different, as you might guess. But anyway, the key point in this particular situation is celebrate failure. That's kind of hard, Lynn. Really? Are you kidding? You can celebrate? What are we doing here, right? We're trying to fail? Here's what happens when you have a culture that celebrates failure. You have no problem taking risks. This is the key right here. It's the most important thing I've said to you in this entire show. The willingness to try something, to take a risk, and then to learn from it if it doesn't work out. This is the key factor for success in this intransigent, kind of sluggish period in our economy. Some people think it's great. Some people think it's horrible. There's no clear-cut strategy, and many companies are just getting by. What I'm sharing with you right now, celebrate failure so that you can encourage. Nobody will worry then. I got an incredible idea. I don't want to put anything on the table that's going to be a failure. Oh, that's okay, Lynn. Just let's hear what you got. And that's how it goes. And that's how W.L. Gore has become the most innovative and profitable company, by the way, in the entire United States. All right. So there we are, folks. I want to tell you one more time, thank you so much for watching us. The next time I see you on the next version of WowBiz Nebraska, we're going to talk about two things, right? How to transform your organization. You won't be surprised to know that we're focusing on change and how to change and why should we change, and how to actually do it. This is what I love to do and have been mostly successful, I guess, doing that over the years. And people are surprised that it actually can be organized, choreographed, and so on. The second thing of our show next time we do the show, talking about rural Nebraska and sharing a couple ideas with you about how rural Nebraska can revitalize itself. It's a very difficult challenge out there. A lot of the young folks are leaving the farm. Everything's getting consolidated. Big companies are organizing it all. Very difficult. That's next time we do WowBiz Nebraska. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here on WowBiz Nebraska. Hang tight and go beyond the pond. Okay? Go beyond the pond. See you later. Bye-bye.